Hello all, I'm Louisa and this is the master slide and this is some Google Slides voodoo, y'all. You're gonna love it. So I'm gonna start off by going back to the workspace. This is a Google slide deck that I made just for this video to show you some cool stuff that you're going to love. You're just gonna faint, watch. So here are the problems that I'm trying to solve. Number one, as teachers working in Google Classroom and with Google Slides, especially since the pandemic hit, we have had to go online. And so I have created so many slide decks, and I know that you have too. So the first problem is that when you place elements on a Google slide that you want kids to complete independently and put into your Google Classroom, they move the elements around or accidentally delete them, and it's mayhem. So let's not do that. So a solution that a lot of us have gone to is setting the layout as an image in the background. So here are some problems when I do that. I'm talking about me. I don't know about you, but I have these problems. And number one, sometimes the images are fuzzy or the text is fuzzy or it comes in weird. It also involves a lot of steps, and it I have to have a separate slide that I am doing the arranging and creating and downloading from so that I can go back to the slide that I want and upload the format as a background. And it takes a million steps to do that, and by the time you get done, you're just done, right? You don't want to look at the slide anymore, you hate it. um, and it's cumbersome to try things out. So if you want to place things on the slide and you're like, oh, this is perfect, and you want to preview it as during the creative process, which I like to do, there's a lot that has to get done, and so that I don't get to do those things as often as I would like. Or like, one of the big problems that I hate is I misspelled a word, or I left out an element, or I left in an element that I didn't want, or I want to move things around. And that involves making the changes and then downloading and then uploading as a background, and then possibly resetting all of the pieces, which stinks, guys. I hate that. And another problem that I see is when you have this beautiful, wonderful layout and you want to put in text boxes so that kids can interact with it to type answers or to do some writing. Um, you have to do all kinds of tricks in order for them to know that there is a text box there. So number one, I like to set a line, like a really light gray line, just to denote that it's there. Um, I have also done like a transparent fill in the text box, and that kind of also signals that there is somewhere to type in there. Another thing that I have done in the past is to insert a cell, just a one cell table, and that is actually a lot easier than the text box, but both of them stink. They involve the same things. And that is really frustrating. So what I would love to do is, you have noticed that when you add a new slide in Google, um, it has a place that says click here to add a title, and then when you type anything there, the lines go away and the prompting text goes away. So wouldn't you love to have that for your kids, just to say, hey, there's something here, type here, and you don't have to have lines that you have to deal with, or messes up the aesthetic. We're creative people after all. Anyway, those are some problems that I've had with using Google Slides or creating a slide deck for my students, and having to use an image as the background. Stinks, stinks, stinks. So here's what I'm talking about. I made a slide, a couple slides to show you. This is an example of one. I've inserted a video here. It stops at a point, I think at 1 minute in this video, and the question is, why do dragons like tacos so much? And I want my kids to write something about why they think dragons love tacos so much. So as a teacher, I have put in the title, I've put in some instruction pieces, and of course the text, the question, and now I want a place where my kids are going to respond. So I can insert a text box, and this is what I'm talking about. You put in a text box and it disappears. So their kids don't know that it's there. So you have to like go to the line, and you have to, put a line around it, and then you have to deal with that line there. I don't know about you, but this stuff kind of makes me crazy. Anyway, also, if I want it to be a certain font or anything, I change those things here. And then I have to, like, what if I am doing kind of this over and over? I have to change it all the time. There's a lot of work involved in this business, but there doesn't have to be, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. So I'm going to start off by taking this video off because I'm going to show you what I'm going to do instead. And I'm going to copy I put these elements on the slide the way I like them. I'm going to copy them. And then I am going to go to the master slide. So in order to do that, there are two ways. You can go to slide and then edit master, or you can go to view and then master. Either way, you get to the master slide. So I'm going to go to edit master, and here is the format that I'm using from Google's Simple Light theme. I right click, I go to duplicate layout, and it makes me a copy. And so I leave the original, and now I have a copy. So I'm here, and I'm going to start off by renaming this to video slide, so I know which one it is and which one I'm working with. So I'm going to start off by deleting these things because I don't want that. So I'm going to paste, and it pastes the elements exactly where they were on the other slide without having to guess at where they were. So you notice that some things happened. My title went wonky, but this stayed okay. So I'm going to go ahead and go in here, and I can still use the ribbon at the top to change anything I want to this slide, just like I would in a regular slide. So let me make that really big. Okay, and I like the way that looks. So I'm going to also change the color because I want the color to be purple. So I go here and I change the color, and I'm done. And now I have a master slide. So you're like, okay, big deal. What's the difference? Well, here it is. Because I made a new one and I didn't change the original one, the one that I have in here is going to stay the same, but I'll show you where to get it. So I close this, I go here, and now I can just delete this slide. I don't even need it anymore because it doesn't have the things frozen in place the way I like, but I can put in the one that I just made, and you can see it's here in the theme. Now it's one of the slides of the theme, and I can choose it. So what's cool about that is if I ever want to make a slide deck like this again, I can copy it and just insert the theme, the layout, the way I like it, and use it over and over. So that's nice. But now you can see that I cannot move anything on this slide. So I'm going to go ahead and reinsert that video. So I go to video, and there it is because I had already done it before. So I just click it, select, and it's going to slap it in, and I move it to where I want it. Looks good. Okay, what's cool about putting a video into Google Slides is you can tell it when to start and when to stop. So I'm going to go ahead and set those parameters, and I want it to stop at 1 minute. And once you do that, make sure that it has saved before you close it, because otherwise it'll just keep playing the video like normal. All right, so if you don't believe me, here it is. I'm going to go to maybe 55-ish seconds.
Hey, Dragon, why do you guys love tacos so much?
And then it stops. So perfect, it's done. So now I want a piece where my students can insert text, but same problem. If I go here and I insert it, it's going to disappear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit the slide, edit the master. So I go to the master, and I know the video is over here, and I know that I want my text box here. So I'm going to, instead of putting it from here where I insert a text box, don't do that. Go to insert, and then way at the bottom, you're going to see placeholder. And then you can decide, do I want a title placeholder, a subtitle, or a body? And I'm going to choose a body, and I'm going to place it here. I like it about there. It's good for me. And it's going to look funky, guys, but trust it, it's going to be fine. So now I can close the master slide, and ta-da, look, click to add text. And I don't have to do anything special. And if I type in it, it disappears like normal. I know, right? Is your mind blown? Mine was. Um, and I can still move it around once I get it onto the slide. So let's say it was, oh, it was too close to the video, so I can move it over. No big deal. So that's one thing that you can do, and nothing else moves on the page. However, if you insert a video in the master, it just comes in as an image. So you don't want to do that. It has to stay the way it is. And yes, the kids can move it around, but I guess we're just going to have to choose our battles, right? Um, as far as that, maybe someday the gods of Google will hear us and they'll put in a lock feature so we can lock things down and not have to do all kinds of voodoo to get things done. Okay, so another thing is that there are some limitations that I want to show you. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a blank slide, and I'm going to go to slide, edit the master, and I'm going to show you that you can use a table in here. The problem is that once you close it, the problem is that you can't interact with it. So you can use it as like, a way to hold things on the page, or to make the lines to create, kind of the space. But here is how you modify that. So I'm going to start by deleting that. And here is one that I have already made. It's not a master slide at this moment. It is just a regular table. So what I'm going to do is the same magic I did before. And by the way, I borrowed these slides from other slides that I had from other lessons. So that's why they're just kind of still slides. So I'm going to copy this. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and just delete it. Delete that. Okay, and now I'm going to go to the edit master, and this time I don't care. I'm just going to get rid of the slide. This is going to be this slide. I don't care. All right, so I'm going to delete the elements, and I'm going to paste, and then I'm going to leave it the way. And you can already see that right here, I cut and paste, and it's already back to where it was. So this is how you use this table and make it editable, or make it, interactive. I'm going to move these things up. I don't like the way they are on the page. I know, right? Even during a video, she can't let it go. Oh, well, that's just life. Okay, better. So what you do is you go to the same thing. You go to the placeholder, and I'm going to put in here a body of text. And so I just made a text box. And it looks funky, but the kids will be able to type into this table, and that's what I really want. So I'm not going to do that over and over. I'm just going to do Control and D for control duplicate. It makes a new one, and I'm going to pop it over. And there we go. So now I have an editable table that the kids can use without moving the actual table behind it, or kind of the format of the page. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. And now you can see where it says click to add text in all of the pieces that I want. Now you're saying, oh, but look, they can still move these text boxes around. You're right. There's just nothing we can do about that. There's no way to freeze them in place. But the structure of the slide is there, and that's the important part. And I didn't have to download any images or upload any images, and I can go back and easily change the elements of these slides over and over again. I can save themes, and there's a ton of things you can do with the master slide. That's it for today. The master slide is your new friend. It's my friend. I love it. Go play and figure this out, because it's going to be awesome. I hope you enjoyed that. Until next time.